Hi, this is Rudy Jones, and welcome to PalmettoStateBaseball.com podcast from May 18th, 2023. This is just part of my coverage of college baseball in the state of South Carolina. I operate PalmettoStateBaseball.com. It's a website about college baseball in the state. I post a daily schedule and a score list, as well as news and notes as they arise. I also post a video wrap-up each Sunday night at PalmettoStateBaseball.com and on my YouTube channel, along with other weekly features on the website. You can follow me on Twitter at PalmettoBase or email me with comments at rudyjones@PalmettoStateBaseball.com. My website and all the coverage are totally free. I'm not trying to sell anything, just recognize the feats of our state's college baseball teams and players. If you like my podcast and other coverage of college baseball in South Carolina, please become a follower and invite others to listen to and like the podcast too. Listener interaction helps me determine if I'm doing this for anyone other than myself. This season has just flown by. It's the final week of the regular season and the first week of the NCAA Division I playoffs. There wasn't much midweek action this past week. Clemson extended its winning streak to 9 with a run rule win over USC Upstate. College of Charleston run ruled the Citadel. Coastal Carolina completed a season sweep of North Carolina. And South Carolina's miseries continued with the loss to Charlotte, and the 49ers swept that season series. But let's look ahead. As has been the case for several years, all the conferences involving South Carolina schools moved their final regular season weekend up a day to Thursday-Saturday to give teams an additional day of rest before the start of conference tournaments next week. At least 7 and as many as 9 of the state's 10 Division I teams will be participating in the conference tournaments. Presbyterian is the only team that won't advance for sure. The ones with futures to be determined are, like Presbyterian, in the Big South Conference. Both Charleston Southern and Winthrop will likely advance with wins in their final conference series. But we'll have to see. Gardner-Webb and Winthrop at 13 and 11 in the league are tied for third and the final 2 spots in the 4-team Big South Conference tournament, which begins in High Point next week. The Eagles can earn a bid by winning at least 2 games this weekend at Longwood, regardless of how any other series goes. The hill gets tougher for the Eagles with a series loss. Charleston Southern currently sits a game out of third place at 12 and 12. The Buccaneers are at Gardner-Webb and can qualify by winning 2 of 3 against the Bulldog if High Point loses at least once to UNC Asheville. It could get more complicated after that. Campbell and USC Upstate are assured the top 2 seeds for the Big South tournament. Campbell is 21 and 3. USC Upstate's 19 and 5. Those teams have a lot to play for this weekend in a 3-game series at Harley Park on the USC Upstate's campus in Spartanburg. Campbell is number 14 in the D1Baseball.com rankings and is coming off a come-from-behind road win over East Carolina. One win by the Camels this weekend gives them the regular season championship. USC Upstate has 2 paths to the top seed: winning all 3 games against Campbell, or winning 2 games and having Saturday's series finale rained out. In any other scenario, and Campbell is the regular season champion. The hottest team in the state, and perhaps the country, is number 7 Clemson. The Tigers are on a 9-game winning streak as North Carolina visits Doug Kingsmore Stadium in the last ACC series this weekend. Speaking of 9 games, Billy Amick of the Tigers has driven in 21 runs in his last 9 games. That's not too shabby. Clemson is 17 and 10 in the ACC, 36 and 17 overall. The Tigers have won 6 straight ACC series and 15 of their last 17 conference games to climb from last place to third in the overall standings. A sweep of North Carolina, which comes in at 14-11 in the ACC, will guarantee a 3rd seed in the ACC tournament in Durham next weekend for Clemson. I believe that even a sweep by UNC would drop Clemson to no worse than 6th. For now, the Tigers appear solidly in contention for one of the 8 national seeds for the NCAA tournament. 8th-ranked Coastal Carolina at 27 in the Sun Belt Conference has won 15 consecutive Sun Belt Conference series, entering this weekend's home set against last-place Marshall. The Thundering Herd is 5 and 22 in the Sun Belt. The Chanticleers are tied for first place in the Sun Belt with Southern Mississippi, which, at least on paper, appears to have a tougher road this weekend. The Eagles, of course, like Coastal, are 20 and 7 in the league, and they're at home against 3rd place Louisiana. Louisiana is 17 and 10 in the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina would win any head-to-head tiebreakers, so all the Chants have to do to claim the top seed for the Sun Belt tournament next week in Montgomery is to win at least 1 game more than Southern Mississippi, or even just as many games. The top 2 teams qualify for the conference tournament. in the Sun Belt. Like Clemson, Coastal appears to be in excellent shape to be one of the 8 national seeds. On to number 13, South Carolina. The Gamecocks are 3-9 in their last 12 games. I'm not sure you could even say they're in good enough shape to be limping to the finish as number 18 Tennessee comes to Founders Park in the SEC Series finale. The Gamecocks are really struggling in all phases of the game. It's mathematically possible for Carolina to win the East Division or finish as high as third in the overall SEC standings, but it would take 3 other series to have results favorable to the Gamecocks, in addition to the Gamecocks winning 2 or 3 against Tennessee. If the Gamecocks can win 2 or 3 games against the Vols, while Vanderbilt wins none or 1 against Arkansas, Carolina would finish in 4th place overall in the SEC and have a bye to miss Tuesday's single elimination round of the conference tournament in Hoover, Alabama. In that single elimination round, the bottom 8 teams of the 12-team tournament play each other in a single elimination round. The first 4 teams get a bye to double elimination play beginning on Wednesday. Injuries have hammered the Gamecocks, and the resultant effect of moving less talented players into the breach has been a strikeout-happy offense and pitchers who can't get the third out in the most clutch of situations. Carolina batters have struck out 519 times this season and could eclipse the school mark of 545 this weekend. That 545 was set in a 57-game season. Carolina's played 52 so far. To me, 10 strikeouts a game on offense is an embarrassment. Tony Gwynn struck out 434 times for his career, a little under 22 per 162 per game season. And he's 92nd on Major League Baseball's all-time list. Granted, most of the folks are from the pre-World War II area on that list. USC has 12 players with 28 or more strikeouts, and only 3 of those have played as many as 50 games. By the way, former Gamecocks head coach Bobby Richardson is above Gwynn on the hardest to strike out list, although with far fewer at-bats. Maybe the former Yankees second baseman could come over from Sumter and offer a few tips to his former team, or at least former program. As an aside, I hate how so many people view obscene strikeout numbers as successful in this era. Now, I never could hit, so I'm not one to be offering batting tips. But too many players these days swing from the heels too often. Shorten up your swing. Put the ball in play. Make the defense do something. Make them make a throw. Make a catch. And don't give up on trying to hit away from infield shifts. Just do it. I mean, it's out there. Just learn how to hit in more than one direction. And one last thing. Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. But back to Carolina. Despite a high RPI, the only way I see Carolina getting one of the top 8 national seeds is a series sweep of Tennessee and a win or 2 in the SEC tournament. If Carolina loses all 3 to the Vols and goes out in 1 game at Hoover, would the NCAA dare give the Gamecocks one of the 9 through 16 seed host sites over teams finishing strong? I doubt it. I'd say USC needs to have 39 or 40 wins after the conference tournament to have a legit shot to host. In the Colonial Athletic Association, College of Charleston at 17-10 of the league must win at least 2 of 3 games in this weekend visit to Northeastern, who is 18-9, and get some help elsewhere to have a chance of winning the regular season championship. The Cougars trail both Northeastern and UNCW by a game and Elon by a half game. UNCW is 17-8 in the Colonial and leads Northwestern by 13 1/1000ths of a percentage point in a home game series with William & Mary. The Tribe is 15-12. Elon, which at 17-9, like I said, is a half game ahead of the Cougars. They play Hofstra, and Delaware is at Monmouth. Delaware is like William & Mary, 15-12. The conference tournament is at the Patriots Point in Mount Pleasant next weekend with 6 teams qualifying. I'm sure Charleston would like to have the added advantage of the highest seed. Wofford's chances of winning the regular season title in the Southern Conference ended with the last weekend sweep by Mercer, but the Terriers can still claim the second seed for the SoCon tournament in Greenville next week if it sweeps the Citadel and Mercer sweeps Sanford in their showdown for first place. The Terriers could finish as low as 6th if they are swept by the Citadel. 2 or 3 wins by the Citadel would also allow them to avoid the number 8 seed for the tournament. The only other games involving state teams this week are the NCAA Division II Southeast Regionals at Tigerville and Newberry. Defending national champion North Greenville is the top overall seed and will play host to a 3-team double elimination pool with number 4 Mount Olive and number 5 Georgia Southwestern. Action begins Thursday afternoon with Mount Olive and Georgia Southwestern playing at 3:30. in Tigerville that will follow with the Crusaders playing the loser of that game at 7:30. The other 4 teams in the Southeast region will meet at Newberry's Smith Road Complex. Number 3 Belmont Abbey meets number 6 Columbus State at 3:30 on Thursday, with number 2 Newberry playing number 7 UNC Pembroke at 7. Things go on as the double elimination tournaments through possibly Sunday. The winner of the 2 regional pods will meet in a best-of-3 super regional to determine the Southeast representative in the NCAA Division I World Series in Cary, North Carolina later this year. I'll provide scoring updates on the regular season and tournament games on Twitter at Palmetto Base as I get a chance. This is the 15th podcast of the 2023 season. If you like this podcast, please follow and share a link with your baseball fan friends. If you like Palmetto State Baseball.com's coverage of college baseball in South Carolina, please let me know. Email me at rudyjones@palmettostatebaseball.com with comments, compliments, or criticism. Or you can post on any comment on any post on the website. Again, I'm active on Twitter at Palmetto Base, and if you see me in a game, please come say hi, even if you don't like what I'm doing. As always, I'd like to invite anyone in the Greenville area of South Carolina to come worship with me at Reedy River Baptist Church, 871 North 25 Bypass between Travelers Rest and the Furman Golf Course. Worship time is 10:30 on Sunday mornings. Our worship style is mostly traditional, and our pastor is the Reverend Josh Slatton. If you live in the Columbia area, visit Woodfield Park Baptist Church at 1834 Morning Glow Lane off I-77 near Fort Jackson. My good friend Jeff Phillips is pastor there, and the Sunday morning worship starts at 11 a.m. Thanks again for listening to the May 18th episode of the Palmetto State Baseball Podcast. This is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying, it's a beautiful day for baseball. Let's play too.